So Snake Pass is a really colourful 3D platformer by Sumo Digital. Not to be confused with another colourful 3D platformer called Yooka-Laylee, which everyone is really looking forward to, and is out at about the same time. So you play a snake of indeterminate species called Noodle. And
Noodle, interesting name.
It kicks off, there's a sort of little bird-like thing that gives you the tutorial details. Because this is a physics-based puzzle platformer, rather than a straight-up platformer, it relies more on you manoeuvring Noodle around the levels. So first of all, you have to slither left and right to gain speed. You don't just go straight ahead, that will just move you really slowly. And if you want to climb, you have to go through basically poles and pipes, and the more you wrap your body around these things, the more successfully you'll actually move.
So what's the objective? You said levels. What's the objective of each level?
Okay, so there's 15 levels in total.
Right.
There's lots of collectibles on each. What you have to get are these 3 coloured orbs that basically unlocks the gate that takes you to the next level. There are optional collectibles as well. There's a number of these blue orbs that you can also collect, and there's normally around 5 gold coins that you can collect. I imagine this would have ramifications on trophies. But otherwise, you don't have to collect those to proceed to this level.
I mean, for average gamer, how long would you say each level would last?
Well, that's actually a tricky question because it depends upon whether you're collecting all the collectibles. Because the thing with the collectibles is things like the gold coins are usually in a slightly harder to reach place than the coloured orbs that will unlock the gate. So the main puzzle in each level is the coloured orbs themselves. If you just went for them, you could probably get through reasonably quickly, although the game does step up in terms of difficulty. Now, some of this difficulty curve is by design, some of it is unfortunately not so. It's more by frailties of the physics engine and the control system. A danger in games like this, that are physics-based, is that the physics itself can often be frustratingly unpredictable, or it's just not consistent. And that is very, very true with Snake Pass. Sometimes you can go up a pole and he'll stick to it, and he'll go up to another level, and that's fine. Quite a lot of the time, though, he doesn't. So you're trying to wrap him around these poles and these bits of sticking out from the level and all that, and he just will not wrap himself around it. And there's you can hold the trigger to sort of get his tail to grip on. That doesn't really help, and it's a bit of a mess, to be honest, and it's a little bit frustrating having to fight with that throughout every level of the game.
I know you were complaining to me as well earlier about the camera.
The camera is actually surprisingly basic. It's not really at all intelligent. It doesn't move it. So it basically stays, you can either have it sort of quite close to your snake or a little bit further away. I found it was better a little bit further away, but it doesn't really move. So if you go into a corner, the camera will stay pointing in the corner. You have to do a lot of manipulation of the right stick to basically be your own director of the game. You have to move that camera around constantly if you want to get the lay of the land and see actually what you're going for
I imagine
next.
that can become quite frustrating.
It's a bit wearing. I mean, I kind of forgot about it after a while, but sort of watching the footage that I've recorded back, I thought, wow, I was really moving that camera around a lot. And, the game should kind of do that for you. Let me tell you about the levels. There's 15 in total. There's 4 different worlds, basically. Right. The first one is this sort of really beautiful jungle. It's pretty straightforward. That's to learn the ropes with. You go around increasingly difficult areas with more and more verticality to them, because that's where much of the challenge of this game lies. There's a world that has a lot of fire in it, and there is a world that introduces wind. There are also other, introduces that has like moving platforms and stuff like that. I mean, the wind, I've got to say, is particularly annoying.
It does sound quite annoying, especially what you were saying earlier about it's difficult something for him to grip. He doesn't always do it. I can imagine that would add another annoying factor into the mix.
It does. What really disappointed me with Snake Pass is that, upon booting it up and playing it, graphically, it's lovely. I've seen other sites actually criticise it for being graphically basic. Nonsense. It is what it is.
It is a nice looking game.
It's beautiful, I think. I mean, and the fact it isn't too advanced means it'll run on most PCs if you get the PC version and so on, and maybe even the Xbox One. The colour palette is really, really nice, and the ambience as well. With the music, it all cooks together really nicely, and it all presents the image of this really friendly, fun game. But the physics engine is, I would call it malicious, but it's too random to be malicious. It's just not very well implemented, and because you've got this, if you could reliably weave a snake going a particular course, then that would be a good engine in my eyes. But when, if you take the same course and sometimes the snake sticks on and sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he just flops all over the place.
It's almost like it tosses a coin every time, is it?
It does feel like it, to be honest, yeah. I know physics in real life has an element of randomness to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I want a puzzle platformer predicated on the entire fact.
The most important question is, did you enjoy the game whilst you were playing it?
I enjoyed the first half hour of it, when it was easy, I guess. But sort of even then, I was thinking, this is taking a bit to get used to, but that's okay. But then, of course, as the challenge ramps up, you just notice that problematic physics engine more and more and more, and it gets more and more frustrating. And I was sitting there and I was getting increasingly wound up as I was playing it, and I was sort of really...
That's not what you play games for, to get wound up.
I personally don't know.
Most important question then is, what is the score?
I'm going to give it a score of 58%. That's on our review scale, is above average. The presentation is beautiful. I love the idea behind the game. It's, it functions, and it functions fairly well, but the physics engine just hobbles. It cuts us off at the knees, ironically, for a game where you slither around like a snake, I guess. So I can't really recommend it unless you have a really high tolerance for that kind of thing, and I don't.
Neither do I.